Good morning, everybody. Today is a very exciting day because we are starting my favorite novel we read all year, which is Percy Jackson and the Lightning Thief. This novel is really cool because it talks a lot about Greek mythology. So as we read the novel, we're going to actually look at some resources outside of the book so that we can not only learn our language arts stuff, but we can also learn a little bit about Greek mythology. So today we're going to be working on gist statements, and a gist statement is just a one-sentence summary in your words of the text. We're not copying what the text says, we're looking at the text, we're analyzing it, and we're figuring out what is that passage mostly about, and then we're going to write a sentence about it. So to practice that today, we are going to look at this story. Hang on. It looks like this. It's called Shrouded in Myth. Today you're going to have to toggle in between this video that I'm recording for you and then this worksheet, which is on Google Classroom. So I know it's a little bit of flipping, but I'll pause in the video to give you some time. So let's start with this first paragraph together. If I were you, I would go ahead and pull up that story while you listen to me read because you don't need to see my face while I read it to you. So the story says, a long, long time ago, even before Perseus was born, his grandfather, Acrisius, the king of Argos, was given a prophecy that he would someday be killed by his grandson. To protect himself from this fate, the terrified king imprisoned his only daughter, Danae, in an underground dungeon so that she could never marry or have children. Certain that he would never be a grandfather, Acrisius relaxed, but Zeus, the great father of the gods, had other plans. So when I look at this paragraph, I need to figure out a couple of things before I write my gist statement. I need to figure out who or what is this mostly about, and then what's the key detail. So I'm going to go ahead and give you the answer to this one so that you have some help on the next ones. So in this paragraph, I think that this is mostly about the king. Okay? Now, I have to figure out what happens to the king. Well, he's really worried he's going to be killed, so he locks up his daughter so that she can't have any kids. So my gist statement would sound like this. A king locks up his daughter to prevent a grandson. So I want you to go ahead and go to your worksheet, and I want you to type the answer to this first one so that you have it for later. Okay, again, the answer was a king locks up his daughter to prevent a grandson. Once you have that written down, I want you to go ahead and hit play on this video again and listen to me read the next section before we start writing. So go ahead and look at your passage with me while I read it. Again, you don't need to see my face while I read, just follow along in the passage. Zeus had been watching Danae and thought she was stunning, too beautiful to resist. He turned himself into golden rain and poured through the bronze bars in the roof of her elaborate dungeon. As the rain fell upon Danae, its magical powers caused a child to begin growing within her. 9 months later, she gave birth to a son named Perseus. I'm going to go ahead and pause there, and I want you to listen for a second before you start typing your gist statement. Here's a hint for this one. This passage is mostly about Zeus. I need you to figure out what's one key detail or one key thing that happens to Zeus. Once you have that, I want you to hit pause on this video and type your gist statement, but remember, it should have Zeus in it. When you're ready, you can go ahead and hit play and move on to the next section. Here's the next paragraph. Outraged as well as frightened, when he learned of a grandson's birth, Acrisius enclosed mother and son in a chest, which he flung into the sea. After drifting about for a long time, the chest finally washed up on a distant island. A fisherman found it and brought it to his brother, King Polydectes, who took Perseus and his mother into a palace. Here's another hint for this one before you type your gist statement. This passage is mostly about the mother and the son. I need you to figure out what happened to them. This paragraph is probably going to have two key details. So although you're still only writing a one-sentence summary, it might be a little longer than the first two because we do have a little bit more information here. So I want you to pause the video, go ahead and write your gist statement, and then come back and we'll move on to the next paragraph. Here's the next paragraph. When Perseus grew up, Polydectes gave him a series of challenging tasks to complete. Armed with a sword made by the god Hermes, winged sandals, and a shiny brown shield given to him by the goddess Athena, Perseus slew the dreaded monster Medusa. This hideous creature had writhing snakes for hair, elephant-like tusks for teeth, and blood-red eyes. Whoever looked at her was instantly turned to stone. This one I'm going to let you do on your own, so go ahead and pause the video and type your gist statement for this one. Here's our next paragraph. Only 2 more to go. As success followed success, Perseus began to think about the stories he had heard about his grandfather Acrisius. So after a brief visit to his mother, the young hero set sail for Argos. Before he reached it, however, Acrisius got word that his long-lost grandson was coming and fled the city, for he still feared the prophecy. Go ahead and write your gist statement for this one as well. You are on your own for this one, so pause the video and go ahead and get that written. Remember, if at any time you're writing one of these gist statements on your own and you're like, oh no, I'm not sure if I'm getting it right, just raise your hand or let Mrs. Beaver or Mrs. Micus know, and we can check your paper online and we can give you some tips and tricks. Here's our last paragraph. While waiting for Acrisius' return, Perseus attended festival games being held in neighboring towns. A skilled athlete, Perseus entered the discus contest. As he prepared to throw it, he lost control and the heavy disc went hurling into the ground, striking a man and killing him. Alas, the tragic prophecy had proved true. The dead spectator was Acrisius. Perseus was told about the accident that he chose to leave Argos and built his own city, the legendary Messenia. This is your last gist statement. Make sure you do a really good job. Remember, you need to figure out who is it mostly about and then 1 or 2 things that are the key details. Again, if you need help, go ahead and let me know and I can take a look at your worksheet. But once you finish that last gist statement, you are good to go. Thanks.